Welcome to the Getting to the Root of It podcast, where our mission is to unearth the power and potential of the CBD hemp wellness industry. Grab a seat as we root out the myths from the marketing and discover the science-backed benefits of this popular plant medicine. Hosts Bob Finnegan and Sarah Nilsson shoot it to you straight to help you make educated choices regarding hemp-based wellness.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Getting to the Root of It with Sarah and Bob. We have a very special guest with us today. Are you excited about this one, Bob? I am.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, absolutely. It's going to be a great episode.
Yes, we're going outside the box just a little bit, and we're going to focus on the entrepreneurial side of life, which is always very exciting to us, and I know to many of our listeners. We have special guest Cheryl Rigdon with us. You might know her as the Spatty lady. I don't know if anybody calls you that, Cheryl, but Cheryl was on season 4 of Shark Tank and brought the Spatty to the tank and has a really interesting story of how she got there and what she's been doing since. So all the way from South Carolina, please help me welcome Cheryl Rigdon. Hi, Cheryl.
Hi,
welcome,
thank
Cheryl.
you for having me. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here.
Yes. I was watching Shark Tank, as I often do, and I was just really touched by your whole episode. I just, felt like your spirit coming through, and I thought you had such a great idea, and I was like, I have got to find this gal and get her on Getting to the Root of It. So thanks for agreeing to share your story with Bob and I and our listeners today. Before we get into it, tell us just a little bit about your background.
Yes, so my background is actually in speech-language pathology. I was a speech-language pathologist in the schools when I created Spatty and went on Shark Tank with my handmade product. So I don't have a business background. So I've had to learn a lot along the way.
Yes. So you're just your average mom, something goes on in your life and you find a need for something and decide, hey, I'm going to do something about it. So tell us like the day that you had the idea. What happened?
So I was getting ready to go on a date with my husband, and I had put about half my makeup on, and I couldn't get any more out of the bottle. And so I turned it upside down, and I was banging it on my hand and banging it on the ground, and nothing was coming out. And so I was frustrated because I could tell there was still a lot of product in the bottle that wouldn't come out. So I went to the bathroom and found a Q-tip. And I tried it, and it just left cotton on my face, and it soaked up all the makeup. I was like, this is not working. So I took the cotton swab off and just used the stick. It took me a long time, but I was able to get enough out to finish my makeup. But I said, there's got to be something out there that I can use to get inside my foundation bottle, because I don't want to throw all this makeup away and, throw all the money away that it cost me to buy it. And so I couldn't find anything online. So I just decided to make something myself.
Well, isn't that funny? Because how many times in our lives have we been like, in some kind of a predicament and we're like, all right, wouldn't it be nice to have something for this? I know somebody that was convinced he was going to make lots of money by inventing a foot blower. So apparently, especially men, when they get out of the shower, they have to dry between their toes. And he was like, no, we're going to invent the foot blower 2000 where you just like step into it. I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing.
This is more relatable to me than the Spatty. but I'm a different demographic.
Did you ever, Bob?
I invented a ketchup and mustard mix.
You did?
That you could take camping. It was called, it was called Muss Up, and I was going to hire the What's Up guys.
Stop.
This is for a different episode, but not to steal your thunder, Cheryl.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
So, people all the time are, find themselves in a predicament. So, all right, you could have just said, oh, dang, too bad. But you decided to pursue it. So tell us a little bit about that.
I did, yes. So I tried several different versions of the Spatty before I found the one that worked the best. I remember one day, don't do this, but I remember one day I was heating up some plastic over the stove, which is not a good idea. Do not do that. And my husband came walking in the house. He's like, what are you doing? He said, what does that smell? And he's like, no, you can't do that. And so So anyways, I tried several different things and finally found one that worked, and I gave some to my mom and to my sister and to friends, and they all liked it. And then I wound up making some more to sell on eBay so I could see what other people thought about it, because a lot of times family and friends will just tell you they like something even if they don't. So I wanted to get an unbiased opinion on the product and see if other people thought it worked as well as what I did. And I got all good feedback from it. So that's what I took on Shark Tank, was that handmade product.
We call that R&D, right? Entrepreneurs doing their own R&D in the kitchen.
Yes.
I love it. Okay, so this amazing show, Shark Tank, you've at that point had watched a few seasons of it, I'm sure, and you're seeing all these people come with their great ideas and, really changing their lives. So you decide, hey, why not me? I'm assuming, right? And then how did that process go? Do you just call in, or what? How does that work?
Yeah, so they do it different ways. I know when I did it, I saw on a website called Edison Nation that Shark Tank was casting for season 4. And so I put in my idea through email and some pictures I sent them of the product. And they got back to me and said, hey, we like your idea. We're going to move you on to the next round. And I had to do like a video for them. And then I heard back about that. And they're like, we love that you invented this and your story, and they're like, we want to to have you on in front of the sharks. And it took a few months where we practiced my pitch with my producers, and then they flew you out there to LA to go in front of the sharks. And while you're out there, you had like pre-pitch in front of the producers, and I remember the bottle wasn't supposed to squirt. The lotion bottle was not supposed to squirt, but it had gotten shooken up, in travel. And so I got up there to pre-pitch in front of the producers, and I was talking about how, the lotion wouldn't come out of the bottle. And I said, see, watch. And I push a lotion pump down, and it squirted out. And I was like, well, that wasn't supposed to happen. So I think we got to make sure that doesn't happen when I'm in front of the sharks. But they all liked the product, and it was a great experience overall.
I have a couple of quick questions, just inside scoop for people who are wondering, like me. First, do the sharks know when you come in, for what we see on TV, when you come out in through the doors and start your pitch, do the sharks already know what you're pitching, or is this the first time they're literally seeing it?
It's the first time they're seeing it, so they don't know. They don't know who's coming out next.
Okay. And then do you do it all in one take, or do you have opportunity, like if the lotion came out or something, would they say, okay, stop, cut, let's redo it? Or is it just kind of like your one shot and that's it?
I think, there were times when, they could, say cut and kind of you can go back and do some stuff. I know some entrepreneurs had that happen with them. I didn't have it happen with me. Mine was just straight through. But I have heard stories of other entrepreneurs who they had them like maybe retake the scene where they meet their shark or something like that. Or maybe they didn't get it. Maybe they said something cute or funny and it was missed, and so they had them, redo that. But for the most part, it's just straight through.
You're supposed to laugh here, guys. Insert applause.
Yep.
Okay.
I know there's a lot of laughing on mine. They called Kevin the Spatty Daddy. And they said, that's your new name, Mr. Wonderful. It's the Spatty Daddy.
So for anybody who maybe hasn't seen the episode or is going to, look it up after this podcast, tell us a little bit about, what happened on the episode and then what your mindset was when you were walking out of the tank.
Yeah, so I was really nervous kind of going into the tank, just not knowing how it was going to go. So I walk in there and we're all just kind of looking at each other until they tell you it's time to roll and time to go and start your pitch. And I was about halfway through my pitch, and they loved the name. They laughed at the name, not because they thought it was, a bad name, but because they liked it. It was a cute name and, caught their attention. And I remember it kind of loosened the mood of the room. It made me feel more comfortable. And I remember at the end of my pitch, well, they're not supposed to ask you questions during your pitch, but they started asking me questions. And they're like, are you done with your pitch? I said, no, I have like one more line to say. And I remember Mark Cuban goes, well, don't mess it up. This is your big big chance. Make sure you get it right. And so I remember it was just more of a fun atmosphere, and I didn't have any sales going in the tank, so I didn't have to memorize all these numbers or percentages or anything. I knew going in there I was going to have to offer a big percent of my business because I was just starting out. And so I remember when I did not get the deal, I was sad and discouraged, and but I didn't get a deal because they didn't like the product. I didn't get a deal because I was so early into it and they didn't have the time to give me, and I didn't really know how I was going to get the product to market. And like I said, I wasn't a business person. I just was a speech pathologist. And so I didn't know. And I remember went in there and I was just like, it'll be great on QVC, So I wasn't really sure, how to move forward. And that was one of the reasons I was wanting a deal with the Shark, was for them to help me with that. And I understand now, they really don't have that time, unless you kind of have the product ready for market. And so I remember leaving and, meeting my husband. It's like, you did so good. I was like, I know. I was like, but I really wish I would have gotten a deal. And now I need to decide, how I'm going to move forward from here.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of down for a couple of days, but then I picked myself up and, got to work.
Yes. There's a lot of lessons in what you just said, Cheryl. First of all, you're taking a risk, right? As an entrepreneur, you've got an idea, but you believe in yourself. You believe in your idea. You're putting yourself out in a vulnerable situation, right? On TV in front of these, these powerful people, asking them for something, asking them to believe in you when, you don't have the experience to back you up. Like you said, the sales figures and the COGS and all the things that they typically ask, right? So you're going in there saying, hey, I think this is a good idea. I'm a hard worker. Believe in me. And then ultimately the feedback they give you is, great idea, go get them, kid. But this isn't for us, right?
Yeah.
So you have in those moments, and like you just said, you sort of have this choice, like, wow, this is either the dead end, this is where it ends, or this is a roadblock, or this is a learning opportunity. Like, okay, so here's what I need to do to get to the next step, to continue my dream. And obviously, knowing what I know now, you chose the latter and decided to, continue on. So tell us a little bit about, all right, so you're out of the tank, you have you pout for a couple of days, you pull yourself together, and what are your next steps to, continuing to make this happen?
So, my next step was to find somebody to manufacture the product. I knew that if they decided to air my episode, that I wanted to have a product to sell. I didn't want to let the opportunity go to a waste. I was like, look, this is, a national show. A lot of people are going to hear about it. And if I don't have a website, if I don't have product, this opportunity is just going to go to a waste. And I couldn't live with not having that, and knowing how it would go. Like, how is it going to sell? I don't know, but I feel like I need to pursue it and see. And so I met with a lot of different mold makers and injection plastic companies. Some people didn't believe in the product and kind of discouraged me from moving forward with it. But I'd found a company, United Tool and Mold, who the owner of that company was like, you know what, he knew about Shark Tank, and he believed in my product, and he believed in me, and he knew I didn't have the money to put down to pay for the mold in full. And so he's like, we'll work with you, on getting this mold made, which was a huge thing in helping me move forward. And they communicated with the injection plastic makers, and that was a big help. And then for the website, I just did it myself on Shopify. So it was very elementary looking website, but it was all I had the money for at the time to do. I didn't have like $10,000 or $15,000 to put down for someone to make me a nice looking website.
So you didn't use any excuses. You didn't let yourself off the hook. Like, these are all pretty big obstacles for somebody going to market, right?
Yes.
Not only the lack of experience, but I don't have the money for these molds, and I need a website, which I don't have the money for. But instead of, just throwing in the towel, you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna work with what I got while I got it, right?
Yes. Yep. I had to have something up, so I was like, well, I just have whatever I can do, then that's what I'll do.
Yes, I love that.
And finding people that would help you. I mean, leveraging your relationships, I think is is really smart and really scrappy, and there's definitely lessons there to really use your hustle and use your kindness and grace and passion and persistence and all the things to make it happen.
And I really feel like as a human race, and maybe I'm being optimistic, but I really feel like we in general want to help people, right? We, especially somebody that we find a connection with, like if we have the resources to help somebody or the means to help somebody, we typically do. And so I think it's great that you're like, all right, well, I'm going to find somebody who will have a little faith in me and work with me at, where I'm at. And I, if all entrepreneurs did that, then, we'd probably see a lot more of this happening. So, all right. So you get yourself a website, you get the molds, how much time goes by between when you leave the tank and when your episode airs, and to be prepared for that?
So for me, there wasn't that much time. I recorded my episode in July, and I got the call that my episode was going to air on Shark Tank in October. And so I know my mold was still being made, so I didn't even have the mold yet, or the product. And so I remember calling my mold manufacturer. I was like, "Look, guys, I got the word that it's going to be on Shark Tank. In 2 weeks. What? How much longer is it going to take to make this mold, and how long does it take to do the process of getting the product made once we get it to the injection plastic maker?" And they worked as hard as they could, and we had to do like 3 or 4 test runs of the product to find the right plastic, the right rubber plastic mix that would adhere to the handle, because I didn't want the tip to be able to come off and be a choking hazard. And so I remember when my episode aired and I didn't have product, I was like, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to sell this? And somebody had mentioned to me, about taking pre-orders. So I was like, well, I'll do that. And, hopefully people will be understanding, that might take a while before, they get their product. So I had my website up and I put, on there, mold's still being made. I'm taking pre-orders. And luckily there was tons and tons and tons of people who, wanted to support the Spatty and were excited about it and say, we've been looking for a product like this, forever, so we can wait a few more months for it. So I'm very, so I did get, a lot of pre-orders from that was able to pay for my production run to get that done. So, I'm glad that I, put that on there, that I said, hey, these are pre-orders, and that I had the option for people to pre-order instead of just not having the ability for people to order because I didn't have the product ready.
And how many orders are we talking about, Cheryl?
Say, I got around 30,000 orders.
It is amazing.
It was just mind-blowing,
30,000 orders
from it. It was crazy.
Goodness.
Yes,
and how validating. I mean, just briefly take us through those moments when you're looking at your website. I mean, I'm picturing like the computer and the ding, 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 you have an order. Yes. You're like, how validating that must be. Either, and maybe a little freaking out too.
Yes, it was both. I was like, oh no, this is awesome. So I think it was like really exciting. Like in the moment, I remember being like, my anxiety was up, my nervousness was up when my episode was fixing to, air on TV, and I didn't know how it was going to go, if people were going to be receptive of it or not. And then just seeing I probably had 10,000 emails too that I, tried to reply to individually and get back to everybody. and just remember it just being, I was, on a really big high, just very, very cool to see that this is something. I knew I had something that people wanted and that people liked. And, I was so glad that I didn't let that opportunity go to a waste, because if I hadn't pursued it, then I wouldn't have known. It would have been like, well, would this have ever been anything? I don't know. And so, but then after a few days, it's like, okay, now we got to get to work, and then the anxiety kind of kicked back in. Like, I have to get all this product shipped out. I have to get packaging. I have to get the product, how are we going to package all this and ship it out to everybody? And so then it was like a whole nother set of situations that I had to, kind of figure out and work around and figure out how we're going to get all that product shipped to everybody.
And we're at this time, were you still working as a speech pathologist? So
yes,
this is your side hustle?
Yep. So I was still working full time as a speech pathologist in the schools. I did it for a couple years until I had my first child in 2014. So it was about 2.5 years that I continued to work full time, plus running the Spatty on the side.
Who'd you get to help you, like, ship out 30,000 orders?
My husband and my mom
like,
and
come
dad
help me
were
move.
awesome. I know.
The neighbors,
Everybody. Yes, I know. Me and my husband and my mom and my dad did the bulk of it. We were up till midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning most nights, trying to get this product out. And I had friends, that I reached out to. I was like, hey guys, I need help with this. Are y'all able to help? I can pay some. I can't pay a lot, but I can, pay you some for your help. So I had, several friends who also would help me. I remember we were just sticking glue dots on the packaging so the Spatties would stick to the cards, and that was probably the most tedious part of it, was the stretching out the glue dots to put the product on them so it wouldn't fall off the card.
So this is all really interesting. So you have this success now. It's proven, right? Oh wow, 30,000 people really are willing to pre-order this product. I got to get it out. I don't want to disappoint everybody. I'm soliciting my friends and family to help me. I'm working full time, and then I'm reinvesting that. And I think that sometimes, especially when we have a great idea, or as entrepreneurs, we don't realize that there's a lot of hustle before you start seeing the flow, right?
Yes,
reinvesting and perfecting things. And I'm assuming at some point you reinvested in a upgraded website and all that. So you're not just sitting on the couch, throwing dollar bills at, you're working and reinvesting. And I think that's a good point to make for entrepreneurs, that there's a lot of hustle before the flow.
Yeah, it was several years before I even paid myself, because I did. All the money was going right back into the business for more product, like you said, for the website, for little tweaks on the mold, for marketing, so many different things that come up that you need that money for. So it was a few years before I was able to pay myself.
So tell us, from between 2012, early 2013 until now, what have you been doing with Spatty, and what other roadblocks have you faced over the last few years that you want to chat about?
Yes. So, Spatty started off just as one product. We had like a blue and white version of it, and it was for kind of everything. It was for your kitchen, it was for your beauty products, really it was for anything that you couldn't get the rest of your product out of the bottle, to kind of have it go in there and get the product out. But then when you're going into stores, one of the things they want it kind of more separated. So I, designed a pink version for cosmetics, a blue version for kitchen, a red version for crafting and teachers, and a black and gray version for like the garage, because I had some men email me and say, hey, I use this in my garage for getting grease into some nail holes, or painters using it, and they're like, we don't want the pink one. Do you have, like another version, like a different color? Yes. So
product innovation.
Yes. So we made, all different same product, all different colors, packaged, showing it, for different uses, and so that's kind of where I went from there. And then I had for years people saying, I need one for my lip gloss, and so about a year ago I made even a smaller version of the Spatty for lip gloss and lipstick and concealer, to go into those bottles, and looking to do another one next year, kind of designed for same product but designed kind of for baby products like baby lotion, and because you don't want to mix your pink cosmetic one with your blue kitchen one. You don't want to mix products, so that's another reason I did different colors, so you wouldn't mix between different makeup and food, or food and grease, or whatever. So we did that, and those are kind of just the new designs, and making some updates on the mold, and figuring out how to get into retail stores. That was a challenge too. Figuring out all the different steps, getting a barcode, and getting something they use EDI for a lot of orders, and just figuring out how to get retail ready, because when you reach out to these big box stores or retail stores, they want you to be ready to go. They don't want to have to sit and wait. So that was a big roadblock too, was figuring out how to get my product retail ready.
So do you have a team? I mean, I'm thinking, man, you gotta get these meetings. You gotta know like the financial side of the business and the production side of the business. What does Spatty look like now as far as a company with? And do you have a team of employees or an office or?
So right now I'm still pretty much working out of home. I'm work from home mom, I guess you could say. So I still do this. Luckily I have my mom that lives right down the road, so she's able to come over pretty much every day and help me with my younger girl and watch her while I work during the day. And then I have, somebody who helps me with shipping. Then I have different contract people that I reach out to help me with some other things. But mostly I only have like one full-time employee. Then I have a lot of people that I kind of contract out for 1099s for help with different areas. But I remember, one of the first people that came on was a guy named Jeremy Brockbank. His company was Anthill Retail, and he's kind of the one that knew how to get product into retail. He'd already done that. That was what his job was, and he reached out to me through seeing me on Shark Tank and knowing that was one of the things I was going to need help with. So I partnered with him early on, and he was the one who was, really big on helping me get my product ready for retail.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to do my best Mr. Wonderful impression and ask you, as if we're in the tank now. Cheryl, tell me about your sales. This all sounds wonderful, but money talks. Tell me about your sales to date.
Yeah, so we have sold over 1.3 million Spatties since. Yes, that's a big number to pass, over 1 million. Yes, Spatties we've sold since being on Shark Tank. So it's definitely proven itself to be a product that people want. So that's been really good, to see that, to know that this is something that people are wanting.
Validating and inspiring. And tell us, where can we find the Spatty Daddy? I know you're in some retail locations and you have an online presence. Tell us where you're making your sales. Yeah, well, I mean, Amazon's one, it's on Amazon. It's on my website at thespatty.com. It's in Walmart. It's going to be in Staples for the holiday season. It's going to Albertsons next year, and we have some other larger stores that are looking to pick up Spatty as well that I can't mention yet because it's not done yet, but it's just soon. Between us. No, nobody's listening. Okay. Just kidding.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's exciting. So how do you feel? Wonderful. Like, this is, I know it's been a long road and this didn't happen overnight, which is also a lesson, right? You got to stick with it and overcome the roadblocks and elicit help from people. But just for you, like, how does it feel to, going all the way back to when you had the idea to now? Like, how do you feel?
Oh, it's been such a blessing to have this because, one of the things I've always wanted to do was to be able to stay home with my children when they were young. And Spatty has given me the opportunity to do that, to be here with them. And so that's been a blessing. And, it's also nice to be able to, talk to them about the work ethic and about, starting your own business and, growing it and letting them see that and, talking to them about that stuff too. And it's just, I don't know, it makes my heart happy, to see that I've made something that wasn't out there before, so it is like a brand new invention, like it wasn't out there, and to know that something that's helping people. And I feel right now is a great time, for Spatty in general, just to help people save money and get their product, especially with, prices going up and a lot of people being sick and being quarantined. And so I just feel like right now, is a great time, for the Spatty, because it does help people, save money and get their product out, and so they don't have to, buy as many bottles of ketchup or buy as many things of foundation, or it can save you, depending on what you use it on. The Spatty can save you, a lot of money every year.
Yeah.
And so
that's fantastic.
So let's switch gears now. We're putting you in the seat as if you were, the one giving the advice. Obviously, you've been there, done that, and learned a lot of lessons along the way. So a lot of our listeners are entrepreneurial, probably have some ideas that they, would love to get out there, or just growing their own businesses in one way or another. So just a couple of questions for you. What would you say is the most valuable lesson you learned along the way?
Just not to give up. There's so many stages that I could have given up, and I could have just said, I don't have the money, or, I don't I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to get in retail. I don't know how to do this. It could have just gotten to the point where I was just, it was too stressful, or it was just, I didn't, see a way. But I think, there's always seems to be a way, I mean, I don't know how many people I've met with, before I got the product made, and how many nights I cried, like, how am I going to do this? So just, I think just not giving up. Just keep reaching out to different people. And I remember I got told no several times by Walmart before they finally said yes, because new buyers come in, and one buyer might not understand your product, and then you might get another buyer that is like, oh, this is an awesome idea. So I think that's another thing to look at, going with retail, is that you're always getting new people in, new buyers in. And I know, like with Bed Bath & Beyond, I got told no a few times with them too before it, got in their stores. And so I think the big thing is just not giving up.
That perseverance and belief in yourself and your product. Yeah. Is there anything that stands out to you as something that you would have done differently?
So I know I changed my packaging design several times, and that's been pricey to do that, to reinvent your packaging. So instead of just, I like to get stuff done. I'm kind of like a type A person. I have my checklist. I like to get stuff checked off and done, and that gets my anxiety down, makes me feel better that I got stuff accomplished. But sometimes that's not good, because I don't sit and think things through. A lot of times, I don't think long term, how that's going to affect things. So I know, like, I changed my mold, and that was pretty pricey. It was like more to make my Spatty tip thinner instead of thicker. And I remember that was one of the things that was suggested to me by the mold maker, was to do that. And I was like, no, it's fine how it is. Just go ahead and make it how it is. And then I remember getting a lot of feedback from customers being like, oh, this would be great, if it was thinner. I'm like, oh, well, then I should have, I should have done that. And then, paying $10,000 to get my mold updated to make that small change, which I wouldn't have had to pay that in the first place, so, but I was just wanting to, get stuff done.
Yeah. I think you just described the yin and yang of Sarah and Bob. Well, I'm sure you were thinking the same thing, Bob. It's like,
I wasn't going to say anything.
It's okay. It's nice to have a partner that one of them is like more methodical and like thinking long term, and one of them's like, let's just get it done and then find the happy medium. And so what advice do you have for aspiring entrepreneurs?
The biggest thing for me that has helped me was having people come alongside of me that was knowledgeable in areas that I was not. Kind of knew my weaknesses, and I knew my areas of strength, and knew my areas of weaknesses, and finding people who believed in me and believed in the product that I could have come alongside of me to help me in those areas that I didn't really know how to move forward in. That's been probably one of the biggest things that's helped, the Spatty go from just a handmade product to being in products in stores across the U.S.
That's really good advice, that it's okay to raise your hand and say, hey, this isn't my wheelhouse, and find somebody, that fits that bill and partner with. That's really good advice. We're also excited for our listeners because you have generously offered a discount. Some people are probably already logging into thespatty.com. Some people are Googling it right now. Some people are like, I remember that episode. But for all of our listeners that go to the Spatty, SPATTY, thespatty.com, and put in code SPATTY, SPATTY, Cheryl's offering a 20% discount on your order for our listeners. So thank you so much for graciously doing that. I know I'm going to get some. I'm excited, especially now that I know I can get a whole crayon box full of them for all different things. That's great.
Yes.
I'll be waiting for the foot blower.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Bob, I want to see the prototype of that mustard ketchup contraption. Actually, is pretty smart.
Well, I'll make you a deal right now. I will take 5%. No, I'm just kidding. I was gonna try to make a sweet investment deal.
Yeah.
But we can take that offline. We can take that offline.
With a 50%, what do they call it? It's not a residual, the little where they get 50 cents for every one you sell.
Yeah, I want a little
for the next
rev
year.
share.
Yeah.
And 51%.
Before we let you go, Cheryl, we like to ask our guests just some random fun facts about you, just kind of keep things fun and light and interesting as we wrap up the episode. Are you game for it?
Sure.
All right. So, if you were not a speech pathologist or running the Spatty company, what would you be doing?
I always wanted to be a marine biologist and study sharks, but I never thought I was smart enough to become a scientist, so I didn't pursue it.
Well, clearly you are smart enough, but interesting dichotomy of trade there.
Yes.
That's so funny you say that too, because when I was like graduating high school to go to college, I wanted to either be a whale trainer or a news anchor or a soap star, like totally opposite. Clearly did neither one of those worked for me, but
both those sound like cool jobs.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. One trip to SeaWorld, and I was like, I could jump off a dolphin's nose. Like, sign me up. I didn't realize there was so much biology, and it was actually like they weren't just showboaters or anything. All right. What is a secret talent? Something that your secret talent that maybe nobody knows.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I have. I can't think of anything for that. I can touch my nose with my tongue. I don't know if that's really a secret talent or not. I don't know if I really have anything.
I think some people would think that is a secret talent, Cheryl.
But can you pat your head and rub your belly?
Yeah,
I can do that. Yes, I can do that. Yes.
Last question. Yes. If you had $200 and you were going out to dinner, what would you be ordering?
Oh, I'm a very bland eater, so I would probably just get like some fruit and some vegetables and a sandwich. I don't like a lot of the different seasonings on food, so me and my husband, a lot of times he makes his dinner and I make mine because we're so opposite on what we like to eat.
Interesting.
Yes.
All right, Bob, if you had $200, what would you be eating?
Oh gosh, I'm a Irish guy by the last name Finnegan, and love some great Italian food. So
makes lots of sense.
It makes great sense.
I think if I had $200 to go out to dinner, I'd still be eating chips and salsa or chips and ceviche, and then I'd take the rest and go buy some shoes or something.
That sounds good.
I'm not a foodie either. Well, thank you for sharing all that wisdom and those great takeaways. I loved hearing about how you had an idea, had a plan, had to overcome some obstacles, aligned with people who believed in you and were willing to help you, invested back in your business, and just, kept pushing even when, you got the door shut in your face a couple times along the way. And then here we are, everybody getting to benefit from your great idea, and you're helping people and living that American dream, and that's really inspiring. So thank you for sharing all that with us.
Yeah, thank you. Congratulations.
Well, thank y'all for having me. It's been fun. Thank y'all so much.
Of course. And remember, guys, thespatty.com. Use code Spatty. Go get your 20% off your order. Thank you to Cheryl. And, we look forward to what you do next. Thanks, Bob, as always.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, hope you found value in the episode and look forward to you checking out future episodes of Getting to the Root of It. And until then, be well.
Thank you for listening to Getting to the Root of It. If you enjoyed today's show, visit gettingtotherootpodcast.com to access information about our guests and to sign up for our newsletter. Be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.